Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MCDFNL Footy Show, our grand final edition. And you'll notice that the scenery has changed a little bit on location at the grand final venue, Princes Park, upstairs in the social rooms, because there's been about 4 inches of rain outside and we are not going out there for quids at the moment. And I tell you what, it is wet around here, but the ground is in fantastic nick. Went and had a look beforehand, and we're set for a big day on Sunday for the 2016 Bendigo Bank MCDFNL Grand Final. Sean Kelly's my name in the host chair for the last time this year. Joining me, as he does every week, Sam Gowers, my co-host. Sammy, welcome, mate.
Thanks, mate. Glad to be here on what's an exciting week, I suppose, for MCDFNL football fans.
Yeah, it certainly is indeed. But before we look at the grand final, let's have a look back at our talking points from the past week, which are the preliminary finals. Of course, on Saturday, it was Carisbrook taking on Natty Bialaba and the Redbacks, winning their way quite convincingly into this year's grand final.
Yeah, very comprehensive win on Saturday by Carisbrook, Shaun. Carisbrook just looked maybe a little bit quicker, a little bit slicker by foot and hand as well, and really made Natty look flat-footed and pretty slow in the end. Very big win by the Redbacks.
It's interesting because that's pretty much what Navarre did to them in the qualifying final as well. So it's a bit of a shame for Natty because they've been amongst those top 4 sides all season, but when it came to finals, I suppose they were found wanting a little bit.
Yeah, they were. Apart from that one win over Newstead, they probably probably performed under par, I'd say, in their 2 other finals performances. I know Jared Bateson was pretty disappointed with how they played in the finals. But
Carisbrook obviously going along very nicely last weekend. What were some of the keys towards their victory?
I think probably their direction of half-back, the likes of Cole Roscoe. We know he's got a very damaging left foot. Nick Wright as well, entering forward 50, just hitting up their forwards really nicely. Luke Tracy managing to slip his defender about 6 times, ended up with 6 goals for the day.
Doing a very good job and can smell a goal, Luke Tracy, doing quite nicely.
Not hard to sniff out a goal with a nose that size.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you said that, not me.
You just set me up beautifully.
I did indeed. I must admit, I set you up for the hospital handball there. But there, talking point number 2 on Sunday, the second preliminary final. We thought this one might be a lot closer between Navarre and Royal Park, but in the end, the Grasshoppers did what they have done so many times over the last few years and basically put their foot down and rolled their way into another grand final.
Yeah, they certainly did. The opening half was probably pretty evenly matched. I think Navarre probably just on top, and then after half-time, the Grasshoppers came out firing, winning their way into a 4th straight grand final.
No, it's fantastic work by Navarre, winning through to, you mentioned that 4th straight grand final. They got the record this year. They obviously had a bit of an up and down year in the fact that when we say up and down year, they actually lost games for the first time in a long, long time. But they've had a great year as well to move into yet another grand final. And it's time to have a look at the biggest day on the MCDFNL sporting calendar. Grand final day here at Princes Park this Sunday. Set to be a pretty good day, Sam.
It should be.
Weather-wise, maybe not so much.
A little bit of rain in the morning, I think, and maybe on Saturday night, so it could be a little bit greasy underfoot out on Princes Park. But like you said, we had a look at the ground before the show, and it's held up very well indeed. Always drains well as Princes Park.
Yeah, it does indeed. Just stalling for a moment while I bring up some of the information, which you can see right now. Our grand finals for this weekend, they start at 8:10 a.m. on Sunday morning, so make sure you're up nice and early. I dare say there'll be a bacon and egg roll floating around for you to brave, obviously, the conditions and get up here and watch the under 11.5 game between Carisbrook and Avoca. Under 14.5 game will be Campbell's Creek versus Trentham. The under 17.5 game, and this is always a ripping grand final, Carisbrook versus Trentham, 10:55 a.m. Should be a fantastic game. The reserves is Royal Park versus Lexington. And then the senior game, as much as things change, things stay the same. Carisbrook taking on Navarre, as it was last year in the grand final and as it has been so many times in recent years. Earlier on in the day today, we managed to catch up with a couple of the grand final combatants and also the grand final coaches from Navarre, Ash Driscoll and Jayden Fowkes. Welcome back out here to Princes Park, folks, and we found a couple of our grand final coaches this weekend, and they happen to both be from the same side. The Navarre boys are with us. Firstly, Ash Driscoll. Ash, welcome, mate. Great to have you here.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you, Sam.
And Jayden Fowkes as well. Jayden, thanks for coming along, mate.
Thanks, Sean. Good to see you.
Tell us about the season, boys, obviously starting off. First year as coach, Ash. How have you found your first foray into senior coaching?
Well, I suppose, being at the club for a fair while now, and with the group of players we've got, it hasn't been too bad.
Yep.
I suppose it's not like a new coach, coming to a new club. So I think all in all, the pressure hasn't really been there, but I think it's still been a bit of a challenge to, just keep our, ability to learn and grow as a coach. So I think all in all, it hasn't been too bad this year.
And I suppose, Jayden, how have you found combining coaching and playing, I suppose, in your first year at a very young age going into a senior coaching role?
Oh yeah, it has its tough moments, but you've always got someone on the bench by your side helping you out, and you're playing up there doing his bits. So.
And a reasonably thrilling moment for you at the Berry Power Medal night the other night, going up and accepting the Berry Power Medal, unfortunately on behalf of your brother, but still they handed you the Berry Power Medal, and you kind of said to me, "Oh, I'm not Josh, I'm not Josh." I said, "Oh no, just get up there and accept it on his behalf." Tell us about that, and obviously what Josh's reaction when you received the medal.
Oh well, it was, I don't know what he thought he was going to poll, but he wasn't there on the night, and I called him up and told him. He was pretty shocked that he won it. But, yeah.
Did you just tell him that he got lucky because sometimes they just had J folks on the card and he probably got your vote?
I said exactly that.
Good work indeed. How about yourself, mate? Up forward this year, and I suppose a little bit of a different role at times as well. How have you found the actual season?
Yeah, I suppose form-wise it could be better, but different role this year, playing high up the ground. I suppose you got to work into the team's structures, and it's worked. I think towards the end of the season, it's got better. So at the right time of the season. So I think having Cody down full forward and myself at centre forward, and to a later extent Josh Fowkes has come in. So I think it's been working okay.
Youngsters coming through, obviously we always talk, Jayden, about how strong Navarre is and how strong the junior program is, and with the player point system coming in that you guys are on basically 1 point per person, but your juniors coming through, Aiden Jens, Riley Bibby, guys like that are coming through and playing really good senior footy, still eligible for under 17 and a halves. Is that what keeps you guys going as well?
Definitely keeps us going and keeps the pressure on spots for other blokes that are starting to get on in their age, and they start getting pushed and pushed to training. So it's definitely a good thing. Helps us keep going.
Fantastic.
Turning your attention towards Sunday, Ash, Carisbrook's a bit of a different look team to what it has been the last 2 years. Do you think that's going to make a difference in the game, or do you think you've seen enough of them this year?
I suppose they've still got their original players that have been there the past few years, so we know how they played, and as you said, they have topped up with a few extra players. They did get the better of us, later in the year, and we've learned from how they played against us, and we watched them on Saturday. Hopefully get enough knowledge out of those games to hopefully combat against them on Sunday.
Who do you think the players from Carisbrook to watch are, folks? Any big names that you'll be looking out for on Sunday?
Oh well, LT's always going to be a big name going forward.
Big nose up forward too.
He's always going to sneak a few.
Yep.
Whoever, no matter who you put on him, he's a smart footballer. So and Jackson Bowen through the middle, he's always going to take a few big marks, and so there's always a few to watch.
Yeah.
Is it a bit of a concern, their forward structure this year? Because obviously it looks a lot different to last year, and they've brought guys like Corey Taylor into the team that can take a catch as well, and they really look potent up forward. Your back line, I watched the game against Natty, and you look fantastic that day, just with your run and carry, but just matching up, do you think it's going to be difficult, or have we already got ideas for matchups?
Oh, we do have a few ideas for matchups. We've been thinking about it, but they are a bit shorter than us. I think we're a bit taller than them, so it'll be the running game that might slow us down a bit there.
Yep. I suppose grand final week, Ash, it'd almost just be business as usual for you guys. You've been through it that many times before. Is it business as usual, or do you still get that thrill from knowing that you're going into a grand final?
You definitely get that thrill of even this final series. You definitely get that excitement coming in each game, and I think this is probably one of the most nervous I've been in recent years.
Is that because of the coaching?
That might have a bit to do with it, I think. So it's hopefully that brings my game and Jayden's game to the level of standard, so we can come home Sunday. So.
And no need for the angry pills this year. You have been known to take them on the odd occasion and cross that white line and get a little bit upset with people, especially as last time you were on the footy show, you did threaten to snap Sammy Gowers in half like a toothpick. But how have you managed that this year, mate? Just obviously calm and collected on the field this year?
I think we've shook hands from that last meeting, so I think we're good. I think we're right now.
Moved on from that one?
I've retired from playing footy as well.
That's probably why you've retired as well, boys. Thank you for coming down and joining us on the MCDFNL Footy Show this week. Best of luck. And I know that we're hoping that little piece of silverware right there makes its way alongside 3 others inside the Navarre Trophy cabinet this weekend. Ash Driscoll, Jayden Fowkes, thanks for joining us, mate. Best of luck on the weekend.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Thanks to Ash Driscoll and Jayden, folks, from the Navarre Footy Club. I think it's time, Sammy, that we headed back into the studio and gave our tips for this week's grand final. We'll finish off the MCDFNL Footy Show for season 2016. Ash Driscoll and Jayden, folks, from Navarre. Couldn't get any of the Carisbrook boys on the show, but for a very, very good reason. At the time that we are filming this, Carisbrook is actually under a bit of siege at the moment by the rains and the floodwaters. So we send our best out to all of the Carisbrook community that are, I suppose, battling with the floodwaters at the moment, and hope that everything works out well for them. And obviously, grand finals are a great, great thing, but there is some bigger things in life sometimes.
Yeah, there certainly is. Like you said, best wishes to everyone out of Carisbrook dealing with that heavy rain that we've had here today.
Yeah, we have indeed, but we will turn our attention, of course, to this weekend's grand final, and I reckon this is setting up to be an absolute ripper of a game, and I reckon Carisbrook are placed pretty well to do what they haven't been able to do in recent years, or in particular any time in the last 3 years.
Yeah, like you said, third straight time these two sides have met in the grand final, which is extraordinary in itself. Carisbrook probably are travelling maybe a little bit better form-wise than Navarre. They've been in red-hot form the last month. And a few new faces, I think, in the Carisbrook lineup. Looking back at their team last year, I think they lacked a little bit of pace and maybe another big key forward. Gone out and addressed that issue. Got Jayden Hind in to inject a little bit of pace. A couple of other young guys in there, Lockie Edwards and Matt Jukes in the midfield. And then obviously Corey Taylor up forward.
Yeah, doing a great job.
Other key target for the Redbacks this season.
They have indeed, and of course, the one thing that they were missing last year that they brought back into the side is the big man in the middle, the big hard hat, Jackson Bowen, who has had a fantastic season in his year back at Carisbrook. And his battle in the ruck with the Berry Power medalist Josh Fowkes is going to be worth the price of admission alone.
It is. There should be some really interesting battles, I think, or mini battles, I suppose, in Sunday's game. We know Navarre's back line, very, very tight-fisted, led by Brent Flood down there. But Carisbrook's back line as well, pretty well set up to deal with Navarre's forward line of Ash and Cody Driscoll. Got Adam Hurst at centre half-back, who's had an outstanding season, provides a lot of direction in the back line for Carisbrook. And then young Aaron Taggart, who's actually turned into a really good key defender this season, occupying that other key defensive post. So it should be really, really intriguing come Sunday.
Now, looking at both sides of the coin, what do you think Navarre's key to winning this game is?
I suppose in past years, I think Navarre's been one of those teams that moves the ball really, really quickly. I think this year they've maybe gone back to playing a bit more contested footy. We just heard Ash Driscoll speaking about himself playing a little bit higher up the ground. He provides a bit of crash and bash value for them.
Yep.
I think the weather could play a big part as well. I think it probably would suit Navarre a little bit better. Like I said, play that contested ball game. So I think if it's greasy underfoot, it'll suit the Grasshoppers.
Flip side of the coin, the Redbacks going along beautifully at the moment, but what do they have to do to take this little baby in front of us home on Saturday night, on Sunday night even?
I think it's key that they get the ball to their outside runners. We mentioned Jayden Hind before, very quick. Lewis Rinaldi, Nick Wright was another name I mentioned before. Riley Hurd, guys that can provide that outside run. I think Carisbrook probably are a little bit quicker than Navarre this year. Navarre obviously doesn't have Bryce Tickner, who played that role for the Grasshoppers a lot of the time. So I think if Carisbrook can get the ball to those guys and get them delivering inside 450 to Corey Taylor and Luke Tracy, go a long way towards helping Carisbrook.
And now the $64,000 question, Sam Gowers, who will win this Premiership Cup and the game on Sunday?
I think probably more so than the past 3 years, Sean. This is a really, really tough call. I'm actually going to go with Carisbrook.
Wowee.
I think just their form over the last month is just undeniable.
I'm actually siding with you. I don't know why. I actually started this show off today thinking, how can you tip against Navarre in a grand final? They've been on this stage. They've done it so many times before. But I reckon there's something about this Carisbrook team this year. They have been built with the express purpose of getting to this day and winning this day. They didn't care about where they finished on the ladder. They didn't care about building to win finals. They were built for this day, for this grand final. And I think that they can win this game. It's not going to be easy for them, and if I'm wrong, it will not surprise me at all, but I feel that they are built for this day. This is their opportunity, and they need to take it with both hands.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular opinion, actually, Sean, speaking to other coaches around the competition.
A lot of it is that after 3 years of winning, you look to find an underdog. It's the same with Hawthorn this year. Everybody's jumping on the Western Bulldogs bandwagon this weekend because, well, we're both Bulldog supporters, so we're biased on it, but because people that aren't Hawthorn supporters are sick of seeing Hawthorn win games, it's a bit of the same here. You try to look for reasons that Navarre can't win the game. they're well and truly in this game, and it would not surprise me at all if they are holding this high above the Maryborough sky, just out here, about 100 metres from us, on Sunday afternoon, because they know what to do on this day. I just feel at this time that Carisbrook are built for this game, and they are primed and ready to go, and they can get them.
Yeah, like I said, speaking to other coaches, I've been speaking to them in the last few days, getting their tips, and overwhelmingly, I'd say Carisbrook is the pick. And that's probably just a good indication of how well they have been travelling in the past month, that people are willing to tip them against Navarre, who's chasing that 4th straight flag.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting day on Sunday. It's Carisbrook for the both of us, which will probably surprise a lot of people given Navarre's dominance. Which brings us, Sam Gowers, to the end of the MCDFNL Footy Show for season 2016. It has been quite the journey this year. We haven't had some of the interruptions we've had in past years. Service has been largely uninterrupted this year, and we thank every one of you for joining us on our journey this year. We thank you, though, Sam Gowers, your effort every week, and most of the time to come down to Ballarat when you're back here living in Maryborough, to come down, make your time available, and obviously the research that you put into it and the knowledge that you have for the league is absolutely outstanding. I personally thank you for the chance to sit next to you every week and listen to you talk, and I know that that will be echoed amongst the MCDFNL footy fans.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I enjoy hearing what you've got to say every weekend, getting my eardrums worked over by your dulcet tones, but it's been a pleasure sitting alongside you.
It has been an absolute pleasure. The pleasure is all mine for having you join us this year on the MCDFNL Footy Show. We're going to do a lot of work into making sure this comes back in 2017. It's almost a lay down misère that you will see the MCDFNL Footy Show, but the two of us have just got to make sure that we're doing a fair bit of politicking to get our names at the front of the queue to be on the other side of the camera and joining you through your computer screens every week. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time during 2016 and letting us into your lives for 15 minutes every week. We'll see you here at Princes Park on Sunday afternoon to conclude the season, and then we'll see you back on the MCDFNL Footy Show in 2017.